This girl says, "You're lying." He's calling me, and she ripped my hair out of my head. This fake guy that I made up isn't real. Hey guys, my name is Ammeka. Welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, I'm gonna be sharing with you guys story time. As you guys probably already read by the title, this is when my best friend tried to steal my boyfriend. You guys are gonna want to stay tuned for this one, okay? Okay. So I'm not gonna keep this video very long. I'm just gonna keep it pretty short, really quick, hopefully. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I didn't write anything down, so hopefully I'm not like all over the place or anything like that. But let's take it back and start from the beginning. So I was at this school, but I ended up moving and I lived a little bit too far to commute to school every single day. So my mom ended up deciding to switch me and my sister's school. So she ended up putting us into this private school because that was the school that my mom's friend at the time's daughter went to. So September rolls around and we go to school there at this private school. So I was in the 5th grade, and I know before you guys come for me like, "Girl, are you telling us a story time about the 5th grade?" Yes, I am. So I ended up going to this school. I don't really like going to new schools just because I get really uncomfortable and I cry every single time it's the first day because I get so nervous because I don't know anybody there. So I ended up going into the class after my whole meltdown and whole thing. Like, I don't think anybody saw me, but I went to the class and this girl comes up to me and starts talking. We're gonna call her Jane. So Jane comes up to me and starts talking to me, trying to make friends with me. So I was pretty excited because I don't know anybody here at this school. She's like this one person that comes up and talks to me, so I'm all excited now. I'm all happy, like, yeah, I done found me a friend like real quick, or so I thought. Fast forward, me and Jane were cool. We were, you know, cordial, like we were pretty cool. And Jane had this other friend that went to this school also, and we're gonna name her Jill. So Jill would normally wait after school, and my mom would take her home because I had to pass Jill's house to get to my house. So my mom would just drop her off and then we would just go home. So like, she didn't do it like all the time, like if she had something to do, but I was like, oh, just wait on me. My mom could just drop you home because my mom was always late picking me up. Sorry mom if you're watching this, but you were always late. But yeah, so my mom was always late, so I didn't mind the company. Me and my sister didn't mind the company or anything. And the reason why I mentioned Jill is because she plays a part in the story later on. My mom's always late picking me up, so I ended up, we were always like at school like late, like after, like, you know, all of the kids are like gone and everything. So one day, this guy, we're gonna call him Jordan stays after school. And I'm just like, why is he staying after school? Because they're always going home, like, you know, leaving pretty early. And it would just, like, you know, be me and my sister and like teachers that are still at the school because they can't leave until like all the kids are gone. They did it for I think 2 days. So they did it like one day and I was like, huh, why are they here? And then the next day they did it again. And I was like, that's weird. That's suspicious. I was like, okay. So I had a feeling that Jordan had liked me, so I was like, I feel like Jordan likes me, but I didn't want to, you know, gas myself up, I guess. But normally I could kind of tell when somebody likes me. I don't know if you're like that too, but you can tell, you can like kind of feel it. They don't have to say nothing or do anything, you just feel the vibes. That's what I was feeling, the vibes, okay? So I'm like, okay, like I need to test this theory and see if Jordan likes me. So Jordan had 2 lollipops, and I know lollipops, your girl had to do what she had to do. So his friend had asked him like, yo, give me your extra lollipop, and he was like, no. like, no, you're not gonna get it, like, I'm keeping it, I want it. So I was like, hey Jordan, you know, can I get one of your lollipops? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, he likes me. He ended up like throwing it to me, like, and I was like gonna catch it, but it fell, like it didn't even like get close to me. And I was like, are you gonna pick that up? And he was like, you could pick it up. And I'm like, well, it's gonna sit there because I'm not picking it up. Jordan ends up picking it up and giving it to me. So I'm like, yeah, was that so hard? So I'm like, okay. So I didn't want the lollipop, I was just testing my theory. And I'm just like, okay, now I know that, you know, Jordan likes me and whatever. Mind you, I was in the 5th grade and Jordan was in the 6th grade, so we were never in the same like class or anything like that. So I took Jordan's book, so I wrote my name and my number in his book, in the back of his book, and I was like, no, you can't open it until you get home and whatever. So I get home and Jordan calls me and I'm like, oh my god, he saw it, he's calling me. So he calls me and he's like, oh, telling me that he likes me and whatever, blah blah blah. So I'm like, oh, like, what do you like about me? So yes, I was one of those people that was like, what do you like about me? And he was like telling me like, oh, I like your eyes and I love your smile and da 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 da, whatever. So mind you, I haven't been to the school like for a long time. I've just been here for probably about a month or 2, literally. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So Jordan then asked me on the phone to be his girlfriend, and I'm like, hell yeah, sure. And so I'm like all gassed and geeked now that, oh, I have a boyfriend. Woo! I'm all excited. Mind you, this is the 5th grade. I go the next day to, you know, tell my best friend that I have a boyfriend. I'm thinking this girl's gonna be like, oh my god, all excited for me. Wrong. This girl says, you're lying. I'm like, what? Like, are you okay? Why would I lie about something like that? Why would I lie to you that I have a boyfriend when I don't? That just doesn't make any sense. Obviously, you're gonna find out the truth either way, so that doesn't make any sense. Like, are you stupid? So I'm like, what? What? I'm like, what? And she's like, you're lying, da 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 da, whatever. So another key part of the story I probably should have mentioned is that Jordan is the 2nd most popular guy in the school. So I didn't know that he was like that popular or anything. Again, I've only been here for 2 months. I barely know anybody. So normally the 6th graders wouldn't allow the lower school kids, like anybody that's not in 6th grade, to hang out with them. So my friend went up to one of them and was like, because they were in a group, and she was like, oh, you know, can we hang out with you guys? Can we play with you guys? And one of the guys was like, no. And then this other guy was like, no, it's okay, like, let them join, because Ammeka is Jordan's girlfriend. So Jordan had already told all of his friends that I was his girlfriend, and I was, you know, a little gassed about it. I'm not even gonna lie. And at this point, I'm looking at my friend like, see, I was not lying. Like, I'm in a relationship with Jordan. Like, why didn't you believe me? My other friend Jill that was there, she didn't say anything. After Jane had left and she went to go do something, Jill pulled me aside and said, you know, Jane is in love with Jordan. And I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, she's in love with him. And I'm like, she didn't say anything when I told her that I was in a relationship with this guy. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask her about it. Like, I'm not gonna tell her that you told me, but I'm gonna ask her about it. So I go to Jane and I tell her, and I say, hey, Jane, I heard that you like Jordan. Jane looks me dead in my face and say, no, I don't like him. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, oh, maybe it was just like a long time crush and she doesn't like him anymore. I didn't press it or anything like that because I didn't think Jane was gonna lie to me. I go back to Jill and I'm like, she says she don't like him anymore, like she doesn't like him. And she's like, that's a lie. Jane has been in love with Jordan since kindergarten, and the whole school knows that Jane is in love with Jordan. So now I feel like Boo Boo the damn fool, because I'm the only person out of this entire school that does not know that Jane is in love with Jordan. So at this point, I just think that Jane is, you know, embarrassed, and she doesn't want to tell me that she's in love with Jordan. So I understood, and I didn't really like press her or go back to her and try to like dig deeper into it or anything like that. I just let it slide. I should have pressed her, y'all. I should have pressed her. Mind you, this all took place in, I think, about a week or two, to be honest. So me and Jordan started hanging out. Like, he would stay after school, hang out with me, you know, until my mom came or something. Jane was never there just because she had to go home early, so it was always just me, my sister, Jill, Jordan, and a couple other people who decided to stay over. So this is where the story gets real, okay? So at this point, this other girl starts talking to me. I'm gonna call her Kelly. So Kelly starts talking to me, and to be honest, I don't remember like ever seeing Kelly in this class, to be honest. Again, I've been here for 2 months. I've just been in and out. I don't really talk to anybody. I'm minding my own business. That's just me. So Kelly comes up to me and she starts talking, whatever. Kelly's like one of the popular girls at my school and whatever. Jill comes up to me and starts telling me, Kelly and Jane are cousins, and Jane and Kelly apparently don't get along very much. Kelly does not like Jane, and Jane always wanted to be Kelly's friend, but Kelly did not want to be her friend at all. So Kelly was talking to me. Maybe she was trying to just make Jane jealous, I don't know, but she seemed like a really nice person, and I was just talking to her. I didn't really like press our friendship or try to get close to Kelly, just because I did not want to leave Jane by herself, because Jill was telling me that Jill's kind of like a floating person. She talks to whomever, like she's not really like tied down to one like friendship. I didn't want to leave Jane by herself with no friend, because Jill's telling me before I came along she was her only friend. And you know, Jill talks to everybody, so it's not like, oh, like I'm only on your side. I didn't want to leave Jane all by herself. So I decided, you know, like not to really pursue the friendship with Kelly. She seemed like a really nice person. Honestly, she was a really nice person. She was really, really sweet. But I just did not want to mess up my friendship with Jane. Jane would come to me because she started seeing that I'm talking to Kelly, and she would start talking a lot of stuff about Kelly and saying, oh, Kelly's this, Kelly's that, like she's not a good person, you can't trust her, like she's just talking a bunch of mess about Kelly. And I'm just like, why is she like doing Kelly so dirty? Like Kelly seems like a really nice person. So after Jill told me what was going on between the two of them, I understood why Jane was like that. I'm like, oh, maybe she doesn't want me to be friends with Kelly. I wasn't planning on being friends with Kelly, so she didn't need to do all that extra stuff anyways. I peeped Jane was kind of weird, to be very honest, just because one day we were in class and I said something to her like super sarcastically. Is that even a word? I don't know, but we're gonna pretend it's a word today. I said to Jane that, you know, like, because we were talking about hair, and I said to Jane, oh yeah, like if you take somebody's hair and you put it on your head, it'll make your hair grow long. I said it like a joke, like I did not say it like seriously or anything like that. And Jane knew that I was joking. Like she knew I was joking. Jane proceeds to grab my hair and snatches it out of my head. I mean, she ripped my hair out of my head and put it on her head. And I was like, what? I was like, ow, bro, like why would you do that? Like, you know I'm joking. And she was like, oh, sorry, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, what? So I didn't like get upset or anything, because I was like, okay, maybe she just misinterpreted what I said. Maybe she just didn't realize that I was actually joking and I was just saying it super sarcastically, and it wasn't actually a serious like statement or anything like that. I was just kidding around. So I just let it slide. I didn't press her about it. I didn't get upset. She apologized and we were good. We were totally fine. But Jane kind of seemed a little weird. She would ask me like, oh, what's your favorite color? And I'd be like, oh, it's purple. She was like, yeah, that's my favorite one too. And then Jill would tell me that that's not her favorite color. Like, she only says that's her favorite color because you said that's your favorite color. So I'm like, okay, like I didn't really care. I'm like, maybe she just wants to seem like we have something in common. I don't care. I really just didn't care. Fast forward, me and Jordan are still together in this relationship. We're hanging out, we're cool, blah blah blah, whatever. So I wasn't gonna break up with Jordan just because Jane liked him. I was like, that's Jane's business, that's not none of my business. But I asked my mom, what should I do? Honestly, to this very day, my mom will tell you that she did not have that conversation with me, but I feel like it's because she was doing something at the time. She didn't even realize what she was saying to me. So I asked my mom like, oh, like if me and my friend likes the same guy and I'm in a relationship with the guy, what should I do? And she liked him for like forever ago. My mom was like, it's not worth like losing your best friend over a guy. Like, you know, like a guy will come and go, but your best friend's gonna always be there. Worst advice ever. I'm sorry, Mom. You should have told me to screw Jane. She's a... I was like, okay, like that's true, like I shouldn't let a guy come between our friendship or anything like that, because our friendship had gotten a little weird just because I couldn't really talk to Jane about Jordan because I knew Jane loved, I'm not talking liked, loved Jordan. Obsessed. This girl was obsessed with this man. Okay, I can't talk to her about this guy or anything like that, so I'm just like, all right, cool, it's best if I just break up with him. And also I wanted to break up with Jordan just because he was one of those people who switched up around his friends. So one day it was a parents teachers conference and me and Jordan and my friends were hanging out and we were playing together and everything was all good. We were catching a vibe, we were hanging out, it was good vibes. And mind you, I peeped some sneaky-ish that Jane was doing. Mind you, he is my boyfriend and Jane is literally touching my boyfriend like this and like laughing, trying to flirt with my boyfriend. And I'm like, I didn't say anything to her, I didn't like, you know, like girl, like back up off my man or anything. I just didn't do anything. Looking back at it, I probably should have did something, but I was just always the person that didn't really like confrontation or anything like that, so I didn't really say anything to her. I just let it slide. This girl the whole day is touching him, trying to hug him and trying to be all up on him, and I just didn't say anything because I just felt super bad for her. And Jordan wasn't really like pushing her off. He would just, you know, kind of like lean the other way, but he didn't really like say anything really mean or anything like that, which was really sweet of him not to like, you know, like say anything mean to her or anything like that. So sorry, I'm touching my hair so much. So Jordan's friends came to hang out with us and Jordan's energy switched. He was like a Gemini. He was two-faced, okay? He became a whole different person. And I was like, why is Jordan acting like this? Like, he was not like this before. Like, all of my friends were like, what is his deal? Like, he was like all affectionate, like all holding my hand, being all cute and whatever. And then as soon as his friends came, Jordan was acting like he was the boy. And I'm like, it's cool, it's fine. I didn't really like press him about it or anything, just because I was like, you know, that's his friends, he's probably trying to put up like a tough guy act for them, whatever. I didn't care. Well, I did care, but I just didn't say anything. I was just one of those people that like let people do shit and just didn't say anything. Sad, I know. But anyways, so Jane tries to hold him and try to be all la la with my man, and this man literally shamed Jane like a dog. If you've never heard that expression before, I'm sorry, but like he barked at her like a dog. Not like, he didn't say like woof woof or nothing, but he shouted at her so bad, like so bad. He literally was like, leave me alone, I don't like you, stop touching me, and stuff like that. I don't remember if he called her ugly. I don't want to tell any lies on Jordan.
Okay guys, I'm just popping in to say yes, he did call her ugly, and that's why her feelings was so hurt and she was crying. So just popping in to say that.
But all I know is she was so embarrassed. I didn't even feel second embarrassment. I felt first-hand embarrassment for this girl. Okay, me and my sister and my other friends, we felt it, man. We felt it. And then his friends also felt it too. They were like, yo dog, why are you doing that? Like, why are you like getting so mad? So he embarrassed her so bad. She started crying. Okay, so for the rest of the day I didn't hang out with Jordan, just because I was trying to calm my friend down and trying to, like, you know, provide comfort for her, because obviously I'm her best friend. So, and I was pretty mad at Jordan, because I'm like, why would Jordan disrespect my friend like that? Even though my friend was pushing up on my man, I was still on her side. Ride or die. I was a fool. So long story short, the day goes by, we come back to school the next day, and I'm deciding if I want to break up with Jordan or not and how I'm gonna do it. Mind you, again, I said I'm not very comfortable with confrontation and stuff like that, so I just didn't really know how to break up with Jordan. I didn't see him for probably like 2 days. We just never saw each other. I don't know, I don't remember if I was avoiding him or what it was. I don't know. So something had happened between me and Jane. I forgot what it was. Yes, oh my god guys, I remember. Jane, this is the reason why me and Jane were not friends anymore, because Jane told Jill that she doesn't know why Jordan is with me and that our relationship isn't going to last. I never confronted her about what she had told Jill about or relationship. I didn't confront her about it. I probably should have confronted her about it, but again, as I said before, I'm not very confrontational, so I did not say anything to her. I know. It's sad.
I just also wanted to add that she went to Jordan and professed her love for him, telling him how much she loved him and stuff like that, and then asked him if he liked her too, and he said no, he did not like her. And how I know that is because she told Jill and Jill told me, but she didn't know that I knew.
I was like, this bitch. I don't know. I'm gonna have to cut that out. I can't sit down on YouTube. I was like, she is so rude, fake, because she's telling me like, oh my god, you guys are so cute to my face, and then told Jill. I guess she thought her secret was safe with Jill. I'm like, no baby, Jill be spinning all the beans to me, okay? No Red Bull today. I learned my lesson. It makes you talk crazy. So I started distancing myself from Jane just because her energy was just not good. I started talking to Kelly and we became really good friends. So now Kelly asks me if I have a boyfriend, and I decided not to tell Kelly about Jordan. I was like, I don't want it to, like, you know, everybody to know. People already knew that I was dating Jordan, but my class didn't know. Like, to be honest, it was only Jill and Jane who knew I was dating Jordan. So I didn't want to tell Kelly, because if Kelly knows, then everybody's gonna know, and I just didn't want that. So I told Kelly, yes, I had a boyfriend, but I told her If you ever watched The Sleepover, that guy that was in The Sleepover, oh my god, I forgot his name. That's who I told her I was dating. I know. I was just scared to tell anybody that I was dating him. I guess because I was kind of like contemplating whether or not I was gonna break up with him or stay with him. Like, I was all over the place because at this point I was peeping Jane's like negative energy, and I didn't want to be her friend anymore. So I was deciding if it was worth leaving my boyfriend for her. So because Jane would get mad if I hung out with anybody else but her, she would get mad, like on some weirdo type energy, like, girl, like, I'm with you 24/7. Like, I'm not going out of my way to talk to anybody. If somebody comes up to me and starts talking to me, Jane gets mad. How are you gonna get mad if somebody comes to talk to me? What do you want me to do? Say don't talk to me? I'm gonna answer their question. What do you want from me? What do you want from me, Jane? What do you want from me? Okay, leave me alone. So I just didn't really like that, so I just started distancing myself. I didn't drop her completely, but my mom liked Jane for some reason. So long story short, I told Kelly about this fake boyfriend. So I was just like, oh man, I should have told her that my boyfriend was Jordan or whatever, and told her about the situation. But I was like, it's too late to go back now. Too late, okay? One day we had to go through Jordan's class to get to the computer labs. So I'm walking through with my friends and I'm like, oh my god, like, hopefully like Jordan does not see me, because if Jordan sees me, he's gonna come up to me. And if Jordan comes up to me, then Kelly's gonna know that Jordan is my boyfriend and this fake guy that I made up isn't real. So I'm panicking at this point because I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to get caught in my web of lies. To be honest with you guys, I don't know why I told her that, because I don't even tell lies like that. I don't know why, to be honest. I just felt like I just didn't want like everybody all up in my business and stuff like that. So Jordan comes up to me and puts his arm around me. I'm like, oh my god, why would he do this? Like, why? I guess he was trying to be like, oh yeah, this is my girlfriend, ha 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 ha. Like, don't do that. I'm just trying to dodge you, man. I'm already like in deep, like I can't, no. So he puts his arm around my shoulder and I was just like, oh my god. I threw Jordan's hand off my shoulder, like, very aggressively. This is Jordan's hand, okay? This is some braiding here, but I have to show you guys, okay? This is Jordan's hand. Jordan puts his hand around my neck and I'm just like, that wasn't me. I freaking threw Jordan's hand so fast too. I was just like, don't touch me, man. That was my way of breaking up with Jordan, throwing his hand off my shoulder. I walk in to the computer lab and everybody's like, ooh, like, I dissed Jordan, I dissed him. So I went in. My friends at the time didn't see what happened. I don't know how they didn't see it, but from that day, like, me and Jordan never spoke after that. And to be honest, Jordan was a shithead because he never came to me the next day and said, yo babe, are you okay? Like, what happened yesterday? Like, what's goody in the hoodie? He never said anything. He never like tried to figure out what was going on with me. He didn't even know if I had like problems or something. He never asked. He never spoke to me again. I never spoke to him. We were in two different year groups. So he was in the 6th grade, I was in 5th grade, as I said before. So we never saw each other. We had no reason to see each other. So fast forward to, it was like a fair day. If you don't know what a fair day is, it's like a little like school party where they have like a bunch of different games and like rides and stuff like that. So they had like a bunch of different rides, and then they had this water slide. I didn't plan to go to this fair, but Jane had asked my mom if I was gonna come, and I was like, no. I told my mom, no, I don't want to go. Like, I don't feel like going here. I don't want to go. I'm just not really a big participant in like school activities. I don't care to. So my mom was like, Jane asked for you, you should go. I still didn't want to go, but it wasn't really like a do you want to go? It was like, your friend is asking for you and she called for you this morning, so you're gonna go. So I'm like, okay. I put my clothes on and I told my mom that I'm not going into the water slide because there's like a bunch of kids going in here. I'm not doing that. That's disgusting. So my mom didn't like really care if I went in there anyways. My mom didn't really want me to go into the water slide just because that's kind of gross. Like a bunch of different kids in there. Like, how often are you guys gonna change the water? How often? I don't know why Jane asked my mom, because it's not like me and Jane were the bestest of friends at this point in life. So when I got there, Jane was already like, you know, like going down the slide and whatever, and Jane says to me, hey. I'm like, hey, what's up? She was like, I thought you were gonna come. I'm like, yeah, my mom just dropped me off, whatever. So Jane was like, you should have came earlier because Jordan was paying for everybody to go on the water slide. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to go on the water slide. So long story short, Jordan comes up to me, Jane, and my sister, and we're just all there. And he's like, oh, do you guys want to go on the water slide? And Jane's like, yeah. And I think Jill was beside us too. And he was like, and they were like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, I'll pay for you guys. And he looks me dead in the face and says,
but I'm not paying for you though.
So at this point, I just said to Jordan, okay, I didn't want to go on the water slide. It's gross. So Jordan just walks off and everybody's enjoying their day. My mom comes to pick me up, I leave. Me and Jordan never spoke after that. We were just cordial. One day I was like at school like pretty late, and Jordan stayed over, and he was hanging out with like all of us and whatever, and he was just joking around like he's gonna pull his pants down, and we're like, oh my god, we don't want to see like your underwear or anything. So he drops his pants, but he had on beach shorts. That's why he dropped his pants, because he was like making a joke, because we thought like he was like gonna be like butt naked or something. So I found it really funny, and I didn't think me and Jordan had any beef. So I told my friend Jane that, hey, you want to know the funniest story? What happened yesterday? Jane says, what happened? I said, girl, Jordan pulled his pants down. He had beach shorts on though. And Jane was like, oh, what? Really? And she starts cracking up. So I'm thinking that this is between me and Jane. Jane goes back to Jordan and tells Jordan that I said that he pulled his pants down yesterday after school. I'm like, this girl, like, what the hell? Like, me and Jane had became friends again. Like, she weaseled her way back into my friendship circle because my mom liked her. But anyways, she goes to Jordan and she tells Jordan all this stuff. Jordan proceeds to say, nothing happened. That didn't happen. Like, nothing like that happened. I know I'm not senile. I know what I saw. So I'm like, girl, it happened. Like, I saw it with my own two eyes, okay? I was there, my sister was there, and other people was there. I think Jill was there too. And yeah, I was like, yo, Jill, come here. And Jill was like, yeah. And I was like, didn't Jordan pull his pants down day before yesterday after school? And Jill was like, yes. I was like, there's the proof, all the proof you need, girl. Jill backed my story. What more do you want? She's like, oh, okay. Goes back to Jordan and says, they said that you pulled your pants down and that happened and whatever. I don't know exactly what she said to Jordan, to be honest, because she came back to me and she was like, Jordan said nothing like that happened, and you should keep his name out of your mouth before he comes down here to you. And I'm like, Girl, what is wrong with you? Why would you go back to Jordan after me and Jill already told you what happened? Dog, like, are you like sick in your head? Like, we already told you what happened. Why are you going back and forth between me and Jordan? Like, why are you going back and forth? What are you, like a news carrier? Are you like a messenger bird or something? What is wrong with you?
Just to point out, she was like so happy that me and Jordan weren't talking, and she was literally smiling while telling me this. It was literally so weird.
I'm just like, well, I believe what you want to believe, because it happened. Jill already told you it happened. So she's like, well, Jordan said that didn't happen. So obviously she's believing Jordan over me. I'm like, I'm your friend. Jordan embarrassed you. Who consoled you? Me, your best friend. Who dropped other friends for you? Me, your best friend. And now you're gonna believe Jordan over me? Are you sick? So at this point, I'm just like, done. I'm like, our friendship is over. There's nothing to salvage. There's no friendship. There will never be any friendship. It is done, finished, finito, buried, stomped on, and burnt. So I just stopped talking to her and I started talking to Kelly. Now she starts getting really weird and, you know, starts getting really sad and like playing victim. And I'm like, how are you going to play victim here? You're the one who did me dirty on numerous accounts, okay? So we ended up switching classes. We switched class with the 6th graders. So we were in the 6th grade class and the 6th graders were in the 5th grade class because they needed more space and our classroom was bigger. So now our classroom had a balcony, but the door was always locked. We didn't really go out there. So when me and her started hanging out, like I stopped hanging out with Jane completely. I stopped talking to her. So at this point, Jane has no friends because me and Jill are friends, and I told Jill what Jane did to me. Me, Jill, and Kelly and her friends were friends at this point, and we just weren't friends with Jane anymore. So Jane at this point had 0 friends, absolutely no friends. So Jane got really depressed and she decided to lock herself in this little balcony area that I told you guys about earlier. Jane sat in there and decided that she's not coming out at all, and we're just like, why is she in there? So Kelly's like, why is she in there? Like, why is she like sitting in this place? Like, she looking for somebody to be sorry for her? So I'm just like, I really don't have the time for Jane today, because I was just really mad at her, and she was just like, oh, she doesn't want to talk to anybody else but me. And I'm like, why does Jane want to talk to me? Like, Jane, we're not friends. Like, I tried to be your friend so many times. You did me dirty, Jane. Dirty. So I ended up not wanting to talk to Jane, but then Jane decided that she was going to commit. I don't know if I can say that word on YouTube without my video getting flagged, so I'll put the word on the screen, okay? You know, this is where I draw the line, because nobody is gonna do that on my watch. So I'm just like, oh, okay, like, I'm gonna go out there and talk to Jane. Like, I'm gonna go out there and talk to Jane. So Kelly was the I don't really give a type of person. Jane was like, she's gonna do this, and Jane was like, okay, go ahead. You're just looking for attention. And I just didn't want to risk it. So I'm like, I'm gonna go out there, and because we were all trying to like console Jane, like, Jane, don't do it, Jane. So I went out there and I'm like, oh my god, Jane, and I'm talking to Jane, and child, Jane was just doing this for attention. Jane wasn't gonna do it, first of all, and two, Jane just starts crying and starts telling me that, oh, why aren't we friends anymore, and I just stopped talking to her for Kelly. Oh my god, my battery is dying, not again. So I'm just like, okay, like, I'm sorry about that. So me and Kelly decided that it was best if we weren't friends anymore, just, well, friends anymore, because Jane was getting super depressed and, you know, thinking all these like crazy thoughts. We would, like, you know, hang out like on the side, but it wasn't really like, you know, like close like it was before, just because Jane was like really going through some stuff. And again, I'm putting my life and everything on hold for Jane, just because I don't know, she was just my friend.
Just to pop in again and say that we weren't allowed to go out to the balcony anymore just because of what Jane had done, and also we had to go to like a meeting with teachers and stuff like that. It was a lot.
Some stuff had happened at that school, and my mom had decided that she was gonna move my sister and I from that school. We weren't gonna be there anymore because, one, it wasn't a very good school, like educational wise, and two, a lot of stuff had happened. That's a different story for a different day. So we were just gonna leave. We're only gonna finish the couple of months that we had left at the school, and then we were going to transfer to a different school. Let me just explain something real quick. You have to take an exam to get into high school. So as I said before, Jordan was a year ahead of me. So Jordan had took this exam and he got his results on what school he was supposed to go to. So I was telling my friend, like, yeah, I was gonna take the exam, but like, you know, my mom says I'm too young, da 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 da, whatever whatever, and I'm just gassing myself up just because, why not? Jordan looks me dead in the face and he's like,
you would have failed.
Okay, I'm back. My battery died. I had to just let it juice up a little bit. So I'm just gonna, you know, get through the story time. So back to what I was saying. And I'm just like, I wasn't even talking to you, Jordan. I was talking to my friend, Jill. I was minding my business, living my life. You took the time out of your day to stop, turn around, look me in my face, and just to spread some negative energy shit on me. Like, come on now, like, you're clearly hurt, like, calm down. Didn't say anything to him. I didn't argue with him. Again, as I said, I'm not one for confrontation. I don't like it. So I wish I had cussed him out though. You know that meme when you sit there and just like, you think of the perfect response years after? That's me all the time. But anyways, I didn't really care about Jordan. I just, to be honest, I wasn't like heartbroken after we broke up or anything like that. I just didn't care. I felt a little bad that I had, like, you know, dissed him like that, but I just didn't really care. I was just too focused on me and Jane's drama, okay? And whether or not Jane was gonna move in on my ex-man. But I wasn't really worried about her moving in on him just because I knew that he didn't like her. So I wasn't worried about it. My mom one day was just driving past Jane's house, and she just stopped by because she was like, oh, I haven't seen Jane in so long, like I'm gonna stop by, because again, as I said, my mom liked Jane for some reason. I don't know. So my mom stops by and is talking to Jane's mom, and they're just chopping it up, and we're like standing underneath a tree and we're just talking. Mind you, this has been a whole, like, almost a year, like almost a whole fat year. And Jane looks me dead in the face, and mind you, I have not talked about this guy in so long, okay? I don't have his number. It's been a whole year. Mind you, even though I was done with Jane, I decided that I was gonna let bygones be bygones, and I was gonna become friends again with Jane. Jane looks me dead in the face and says, have you talked to Jordan lately? I was like, no, I haven't, like, talked to him. I don't even have his number. I don't have a phone anymore. And she was like, oh, well, me and Jordan text all the time and he calls me like all the time and we talk on the phone. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Do you want a cookie? Like, do you want a badge of honor or something? What do you want from me? Like, she's saying it like it's a competition and we need to one up each other. I don't care. Like, I don't know why she couldn't just get it through her thick ass, weird ass head that I did not care about Jordan. I wanted to tell her, like, girl, the only reason why Jordan is talking to you is because I hurt Jordan's feelings and Jordan is trying to get back at me. That's the only reason why Jordan is talking to you. But I didn't say that just because I didn't want to hurt her feelings. And I also wanted to tell her, like, girl, the only reason why me and Jordan are not together is because I left Jordan for you. What is your problem? Like, stop being a weirdo. But I didn't want to hurt her feelings, so I just didn't say anything to her. I just let it slide and I was just like, oh, okay. This is like the third time I had to like just get my battery to charge up and get some juice. So I'm gonna run through this story real quick because this probably was getting like super long anyways. So back to what I was saying, Jane was just doing too much. So at this point I'm just done with Jane completely. I don't want to be her friend anymore. There's no second, third. I gave Jane like a million chances. I didn't need to be her friend anymore. I'm going to a new school. I'm going to high school now. I don't want to be Jane's friend anymore. Or friendship was over, done, finish. So long story short, I go to high school and a whole year goes by. I don't talk to Jane. Jane comes to my high school a year after, so she was a year behind me. And I just saw Jane and I walked past her like I did not know her. I had friends, new friends. I did not talk to Jane anymore. Like, I didn't even say hi. That was how like done I was done with Jane. Fast forward, Jane sees my mom in the town, like I think it was probably like about a year or two after, and my mom always keeps asking about Jane and I'm always like, why are you asking about Jane? Me and Jane are not friends no more. Like, Mom, stop asking about Jane. We ain't friends no more. Stop asking. So my mom sees Jane, but back to the story. My mom sees Jane like I think a year or two after, and so my mom starts talking to her and she was like, you know, like, why aren't you and Ammeka friends anymore? Jane looks my mom dead in the face and says, I don't know, like Ammeka just stopped talking to me. I really don't know, and starts playing victim. I'm like, this girl is absolutely insane, okay? This girl lies and says she doesn't know why we're not friends. I'm like, girl, you know why we're not friends. You know. Jane would talk mess about me at school and stuff like that, but I didn't really care. Like, my battery's flashing, so yeah. So she was a backstabber, pathological liar, man stealer, weirdo. She was just everything in the book, okay? So hopefully you guys enjoyed this story time. My battery's flashing, and if you guys want to see more story times, comment down below and I will definitely post some more because I have a lot of stories that I would love to share with you guys. Anyways, bye. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys. I post every Tuesday and Friday. Bye.